Hi, Assalamualaikum. So today, I will continue with our lecture on public finance, which will cover another important part of public finance, another important component of public finance, which is public expenditure. Okay, so I believe all of you already have downloaded the slides from the island. So by referring to the slides, then I will give the lecture. Okay, so look at the definition of budget. Okay, so before we understand what is public expenditure, it is better to understand what is budget, because expenditure is one important component of a budget. Okay, so a budget is a detailed plan expressed in quantitative terms that specify how resources will be acquired and used during a specified period of time. That is, this definition is given by Hilton, 2009. It's a detailed plan. Why budget is a detailed plan? It is because in every budget document, it already specifies in details every projects, programs, activities that will be undertaken by the government in the upcoming year. It also specifies the goals, the objective that each of the programs aims to achieve. Okay, so that's why it is a very detailed plan which is expressed in quantitative terms, which is numerical. Every programs, every projects in the budget, they will specify how much budget allocation per program, and then how resources will be acquired. This is referred to the revenue. Okay, so government mentioned in the budget document various programs, projects, activities that they wish to undertake next year. So what are the revenue that they will use in order to finance those projects and programs? Those income, those revenue, those resources must be mentioned in the budget. Mama pergi duduk depan tu. Nanti dengar. Tengok iklan. Okay. Always have iklan. Then it is specified during a period of time. Okay, as I mentioned, every budget they have fiscal year. So in Malaysia, it is from 1st January until 31st December. Okay. Then we also have other definition of budget, which is by Otto and Lerner. Otto says that budget is a statement of expected expenditure and revenues. Why is expected? Because that budget is developed for the upcoming year. Learner, on the other hand, define budget as a statement containing a forecasted revenue and expenditure for a period of time. Okay. So what is the purpose of budget? The first one is money is limited. Okay, we know that money is limited, so we need to allocate those money according to the right purpose. Okay, so we need to prioritize which one need to be given more attention, more budget, so that particular program, that particular project will be given more allocation. So that's why, because money is limited, so we need to prioritize our purpose. Like in the time of COVID, okay, we look on the latest budget announced last Friday. We can see how much allocation is given towards sectors, agriculture sectors, okay, manufacturing sectors, in order to produce, to re-engineer, reinstall uh, all these all these activities, all these economic activities, so that we can stabilize back the economy. So because of money is limited, then we need to prioritize our purpose. Then equitable distribution of fund. Okay, so we know that money, okay, revenue, tax, income is a wealth of a government. Okay, so this wealth must be distributed towards all the citizens. Okay, so however, we know that that is the purpose of the government, to help the needy. Okay, especially those poor people, those people falls under the category of B40, because they are the one who needs more assistance from the government. So how government can help? That is by distributed all the fund. Okay, all those rich people, middle income peoples, they will be taxed. Okay, they will be taxed, the income tax. Those big corporate, they will be taxed. So this fund will be managed by the government in order to distribute equally to those people who need the assistance from the government. Then stabilization function. Okay, budget is important to stabilize the economy, especially during this time. Okay, the economic instability. So budget is an important tool for the government in order to stabilize the economy. Okay, look at the latest budget that the government announced. We can see more money are injected towards producing productivity. Keep producing more money towards the economy, producing more employment, producing more income, so that the economy is expanding. That's why government spend a lot. I can see in this latest budget, government do spend a lot on agriculture, because I know that the government realized that when most economic sectors is contracting last year, in this year, during this year, agriculture sector is doing good. Okay, so that's why for this particular budget, I can see much attention be given towards agriculture and fisheries. Okay, so this is actually to embark, to to take off the economy back, and not to forget sectors like E&E, electrical manufacturings. Okay, they are also given some incentive from the government to take off, to to expand the economy, to produce more in order to stabilize the economy. Okay, okay. I give you example in the slides. Okay, during the period of recession, the government use more resources. Okay, more resources is needed during the time of recession in order to expand back the economy. We know that our economy is shrinking. Then something need to be done in order to expand back the economy. So in order to do that, we need more injection of money. So normally in the time of recession, we do borrow. Okay, like here, apa, this time around, our budget total up to 300 billion. Okay, it is a lot, the highest allocation of budget since 1990s. Okay, so we know that the government get the money from by borrowings. Okay, and then during inflation, so when economy is doing good and purchasing power is okay, and when people purchase, and because of that the price of the general products increase, so that time government will tax the people more, because that time government will be able to get more revenue from the taxpayer and from the corporate sector. Okay, okay, then Mama nice. Kejap. Okay. And then the rules of budget. Okay, the first one is policy two. Okay, government need budget as a policy tool. Okay, there are three instances, which is expansionary. So when economy is slow, budget is used to expand the economy. When economy is doing bad, so government when economy is doing okay, so government might need to contract a bit the economy, so government might impose high taxation. And when we have a neutral budget, which is balanced budget, okay, then government also need budget as a management tool. Okay, what management tool? Because government need budget in order to plan, okay, plan the economy, plan the government operations. Okay, then government also need budget as a control tool. Okay, what are the best mechanism in order to ensure that each particular government department achieve the objective within an allocated amount. So budget is an important tool for that. Okay, so in the budget, all these government agencies specifies what are the programs, projects that they will undertake, and then they will spend according to the allocated amount. So that is how the government control all of these government agencies. Okay, government also needs budget as a political tool. Okay, each political parties, this the NGOs. This time around, I think the government have collected so many data, so many inputs from political parties, from the people, from the surveys, in order to you know uh, get some insights what is the best method in order to stabilize the economy. We can see the opposition party giving opinions on extensions of moratorium, the KWSP withdrawals, and also some of the NGOs on health, environmental. They want more allocations on that area. So budget is also used as a political tool. If, let's say, those who are in power, they normally listen to these insights. Why? Because this is some sort of like political tool in order to win more votes in the next election. Okay. Then budget also is a statement of government expenditure. It provides detailed and systematic descriptions of revenue and expenditure, how it will be used, though, so the citizens aware what are the activities undertaken by the government. And it is also as a performance measurement tools. So by the end of the year, when budget is being utilized, the comparison is made between the actual and the expected. So from there, the measurement and the performance can be evaluated. So in Malaysia, the budget comprised of two elements, which is revenue and expenditure. Um and it is consists of 1 year plan. Okay, and there are two types of budget, which is operating budget and development budget. Okay, so operating budget, also we call that as a supply budget. Okay, these are the salaries, emolument, utilities, repairs. So the budget that the government needs to operate the government. Okay, that is the operating budget. And it's a recurring budget, which is normally every year we have the same budget. Okay. And then development expenditure, on the other hand, okay, it is expenditure that will be used for development, for mega projects, to build schools, to build hospitals. Okay, and it is involved the acquisition of land, the construction cost, the compensation on the land. And it is normally according to Malaysia plan, the 5 years Malaysia plan. So all the development plan is actually developed in accordance to the Malaysia plan. So because in Malaysia plan, we know what to achieve in this 5 years time. Okay, it is a short term plan on what to achieve in this 5 years time. So when we develop budget, we actually sync the Malaysia plan with the budget. If not, this will be two different documents and we will go nowhere. So that's why we have Malaysia plan, what to achieve, and this budget will constructed according to yearly, what to achieve on annual basis. Okay, then we look at on the differences. Okay, the operating budget is annual basis, while development budget it is between period of 1 to 5 years, and development budget normally it is not recurring. Once the project is completed, then it's over. Let's say government the budget of ECRL, HSR, once the project is completed, then there's no more budget allocation for that part. Okay, but for operating expenditure, that expenditure is recurrent every year, is recurrent emoluments, utility bills. Okay, so it is recurrent. Okay, the similarities, both of the budget must be it must be approved in the parliament, and it will be gazetted as a supply bill. Okay, apart from a portion of operating budget, we have charge expenditure. Charge expenditure is those expenditure which is automatically be charged on the budget. Okay, it does not need parliamentary approval. Okay, and it is automatically charged in the budget, which is for example the royals allowance, the auditor general, bigyan ambil kertas. Auditor General salaries, the remunerations of the Auditor General, the repayment of debt. So in order to repay the debt every year, it does not need a parliamentary approval. The pension, okay, the allocation for pension, allocation for gratuities. Okay, normally all the civil servants, once they retire, they will get some gratuities. So that gratuities does not need parliamentary approval. Okay. So let's zoom in on the public expenditure. Tak apa lagi bertambah. Iklan banyak sungguh kalau work from home ni. Okay, so that is public expenditure. So now let's look some public expenditure. Public expenditure refers to the expenses either by federal or state government which is incurred by the government. Okay, so every year government will provide, okay, in the budget allocation for various sectors: health, defense, education, security. So these are the expenditure. So let's look at the trends on the public expenditure trend from budget 2012 and 2020. Okay, look at the blue one is revenue, the green one is expenditure. So we are actually facing deficit, which is the differences. The situation where expenditure is more than the revenue since 2012 until 2020 until 2021. We can see that in the latest budget, right? So this is the trends of our budget. We are facing deficit budget for almost 10 years. Okay. So what are the reasons of growth of public expenditure in Malaysia? First is increasing population. Year by year, the government of Malaysia face increased population. So that's why government need to provide more allocations of budget. Why? Because when there's an increase of population, we need more hospitals, we need more schools, we need more expansions of roads. So we know that with the increase of population, we need more budget. Then the process of urbanization, the process of the urbanize of the cities, okay, the migrations from the rural to urban. So we need to the government need to prepare for houses in the city area, the improvement in the transportations. Okay, so that is urbanization, the growth of transport and communication. So because of we are actually moving towards developed countries, so we, in order to attract more investors to come in, we need to ensure that our transportation system and communication system is good. So that's why government allocated so much on transportation, on to improve our transportation system, to improve our how the project of Penbonio, the project of HSR, ECRL. This is in order to improve our transportation system. Allocation of budget also will be given on digital. Okay, we can see this time around digitalizing the economy is one of the aim of the government. So government give more budget for that. Implementation of mega projects. We know mega project is one of an important way to embark the economy in order to expand the economy. So that's why government continues with all these mega projects in order to generate more employment. Gatal pula hidung saya tadi. And then that's why government allocated for that Pemborneo, HSR, ECRL, a huge, it involved, when we talk about mega project, it is actually involved more than 50 billions of capital for that. Okay, so that's why it is considered as mega. Okay, then welfare state. Okay, welfare state. Yes, not to forget when government have um, aims in order to develop the economies by having all these mega projects. Government also need to ensure that people people welfare is being taken care of. So that's why you can listen to the budget where government still give all sorts of incentive to people, to the fishermen, to all the agriculture sectors in order to help them. Okay, all this subsidy upah whatsoever, this is for the welfare of the citizens, to meet the defense needs. Okay, we can see this time budget is quite silent on the defense needs. Okay, it could be because of, yes, we are in the process of stabilizing the economy, so we just actually left the defense needs a bit. So when we are going good later, okay, we then we will focus on the defense need. But according to last 10 years on the defense budget, Malaysia is actually spent the least among all these Asian countries on the defense. Even countries like Vietnam, Philippines, they actually allocated quite a lot on the defense budget. Okay, then increase in social awareness. So this budget is in order budget allocation government give in order to increase the social awareness on dengue, social awareness on smoking, social awareness on SOPs. Okay, so these are the budget government give in order for social awareness. Not to forget on the domestic violence. Okay, on corruptions. These are the social awareness when the government provides some budget in order to instill awareness among the citizens. And uh, government also provide some budget whenever the government face maladministrations of mismanagement of fund. We can see at the time on the 1MDB issues where government need to recover back some of the losses money. That in order to do that, government allocate some monies in order to to fight back, to get back the money which lost because of um, the maladministration or mismanagement of fund. Okay, I have mentioned this on the classification of expenditure. We have operating, charge, and development expenditure. Look at the budget 2020 breakdown. Okay, most of our budget is allocated on operating expenditure. This is according to 2020, 241 billion for operating expenditure and only 56 billion for development expenditure, which include the economic sector, the social sector, and the security sector. Okay. Okay, now let's move to the canon of public expenditure. Okay, so canon of public expenditure, or we call that as principles of public expenditure, is introduced by Adam Smith in 1960s, if I'm not mistaken. Whereby, according to this economist Adam Smith, he says that in order for the government to spend, they must have principles. Okay, they must abide to some principles. So, what are the principles? The first one, the canon of benefit. So whenever government spend, when government intend to spend, government need to ensure that that allocation of money is for social advantage, is for benefit all members of the society. Okay, it, in other words, the concept of greatest happiness towards the greatest number. If the project benefited most of the citizens, that it is said to have canon of benefit. Okay, so whenever government intend to allocate some amount of money towards some projects, government need to ensure that these projects will benefit the most segment of the society. Okay, so every project government intended to do, that government might carry out cost benefit analysis in order to look at whether this project will benefit the citizens or not. Okay, then canon of economy, which is applies to most developed and developing countries. According to this principle, when government spend, avoid wasteful and extravagant expenditure. Okay, avoid lavish spending. Okay, some previously we listened to we heard, okay, some of the allocation amount for majlis persaraan, which sometimes accounted to some ridiculous amount, which is not practical. Okay, because that amount of money can be used to some other better purpose. Or we can see how during the time of 1 MDB, some extravagant or lavish spending made to buy some drawings, jewelries, accessories, handbags. Okay, so this, if it is true, then this can be considered as lavish spending. Okay, so this is not encouraged by the canon of economy. Then canon of sanction means approval. A budget, a good budget must subjected to the approval. In Malaysia, it is according to the Article 99 and Article 100 of the Federal Constitution, that the budget must be submitted to the Parliament for approval, and Parliament is the sanctioning authority. Only if Parliament approve the budget, then the budget can be gazetted and used. That's why it's quite controversial this time around. Uh, I think it never happens in the previous budget that the questions of the approval of the budget is controversial. Okay, so we don't know whether this time budget will be approved by the Parliament or not. So we'll see that. Okay. Then Canon of Surplus. Adam Smith Adam Smith proposed Canon of Surplus, but it is actually argued by some of the modern economists. According to Adam Smith, a government should reserve a surplus budget. A surplus budget means your revenue must more than your expenditure. So Adam Smith proposed this because Adam Smith, according to him, he said that it is a very risky to the government to run on a deficit budget where government left with no monies. Okay, where our expenditure is more than our revenue. But according to the modern economists, it's okay. It actually shows that the government is productive. it shows that the government use more money in order to generate productivity, in order to boost the economy. Okay, so there is two different school of thoughts. Okay, and especially during recession, we know that government need to have more fund, more income. Government, to some extent, government did borrow in order to stabilize back the economy. So I personally think that the opinions on Adam Smith on to have Canon of Surplus is quite outdated. Okay, which is we can see how states like Japan, Singapore, even US, where they actually running on borrowing, income from borrowing in order to run their government, but they shows a very good development, a very good progress on their countries. So I think this can be argued and adapted. And canon of elasticity, okay, a budget should not be too rigid. A budget can be have the element of elastic, flexible. In Malaysia, if let's say our economy is doing good, but then in the middle of next year, we are actually facing some instability. So we can adjust to that by having a supplementary budget. Okay, the government can pass a supplementary budget. This happens back in, if I'm not mistaken, 2015, whereby government experience huge differences in the revenue because of the instability of the oil prices. So the income from Petronas reduced, so they are able to give money to the government as usual. So government faces a deficit in revenue. So that time government introduced or approved supplementary budget in order to cater expenditure for that particular year. Then the canon of productivity. So government, when government intend to allocate some amount of budget, government need to bear in mind that that project brings more income, is that project will generate more productivity, more employment. So this is to improve the efficiencies of the economy. So that is one of the canon. That product should maximize output, should bring maximum productivity. Okay, this is especially important for developing countries, and especially important for the government in order to re-stabilize the economy. Like now, okay, in the budget, okay, last Friday we can see more injection of capital being given to sectors, okay, in order to take off, in order to rejuvenate, okay, the economy. Okay, so this is quite important this time around. Then canon for equitable distribution. So government need to ensure that allocation of money is being given by in order, one of the aim is to help those needy people, distributes the wealth, from the rich to the poor. So we know that uh, we are using progressive taxation, whereby those people who earn more will be taxed more, and then that tax money will be used in order to help those people, those needy people, okay, those B40s people and M40s people. Okay, so this is how the government provide loans, subsidies, healthcare for the people. Okay, so that is all for public expenditure. It is not. It is a very short lecture. It is not so much to be discussed on public expenditure. Okay, so if you have any question, then we may discuss this in the tutorial discussion. Okay, that's all. Thank you.